All right, let's talk about paragraphs and spacing. So when we left off last time, we were trying to format these two sentences just like this in the browser. But the problem is, these aren't wrapped in any tags to tell the browser how to display them. So let's go in and wrap them with some paragraph tags so the browser knows to treat them as paragraphs. And I'm just copying this end tag over to the end here. It's a little bit of a shortcut, but that's all I'm doing. And let's actually space this out a little bit so we can see what we're doing. Let's get rid of that space. Okay, so let's save that. And I just hit Command S, Control S in Windows. And let's go over here and refresh the page. And there you go. So what you'll notice here is that everything is double spaced. And that's what you get when you have everything separated into paragraphs. But what if you want something single spaced? Well, that's when you'd use the break tag, or the breaking tag. So let's say we want to combine these two into one sentence again, but separate them with a single line break. So we'd add a break there. And let's say we want to do the same thing here to this. Now let's save it again and refresh. And there you go. Now you've got one space, one line break between this line and this line, and this line and this line. Now let's say we want to add some spacing in here to center this. We'll talk about centering text elements later, but let's say we just wanted to scooch this over just with some spaces. Well, let's add in some spaces and see what happens. So let's add in 5 spaces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's add another 5 spaces in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Command S, save it, and refresh. Notice that nothing happens. And that's because the browser ignores white spaces. If you want spaces to show up, you have to use something called the non-breaking space, which is written like this. It's a little bit funky, but it gets the job done. Each one of these stands for a space. And so in order to get 5 spaces to show up, I'd have to use 5 of them. So I'm just going to copy this, Command C, Control C on a Windows computer, and I'm going to copy it over here 4 more times. And I'm going to do the same thing down here to replace these spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I'm going to save it and refresh. Notice that everything moved over, and that's because it inserted 5 spaces. Now, you generally don't want to add in spaces like this too much. It does come in handy from time to time, so it's good to know about. Generally, we'd be using centering and that kind of thing to space out our elements, but for the purpose of showing you what each of these HTML tags does, I just wanted to use them in our little example here.